Hello and welcome to another car tip video from the Proctor Dealerships. My name's Rocky and today we're going to be going over brakes. The main components of your braking system are actually broken up in two different sections. You have the brake pad, rotor, and caliper system, which the brake rotor is that big shiny disc that you can typically see behind your wheel. In this system, the brake caliper squeezes the pad onto the brake rotor, creating friction which slows your car down. The second system would be the drum style brake, which is where the brake shoes actually get pressed out by a wheel cylinder, and which in turn also creates friction and slows your car down. The rotors and the brake drums are both attached to axles on the car, which in most situations the brake drums are attached to the rear of the vehicle. Most brakes on cars these days are the caliper, rotor, pad system. However, there are still some vehicles that on the rear have the drum system. Why do brakes squeal? It's probably the most common question asked about brakes. Well, think about it like this. If you take a piece of metal and you rub any substance against a piece of metal, sometimes you're going to get a squealing noise no matter what that substance may be. In not every situation does a brake making a squealing noise mean that you need brakes. The only time that you ever really have to worry about getting a noise when applying the brake, and this is actually could be a very dangerous situation, so you should immediately stop, is if you're getting a scraping noise, like you're running metal across concrete. Brakes can last anywhere from, I've seen them as low as 7,000 miles, all the way up to over 100. And it's all based on how you drive, the type of driving you do. The more in-town driving you do, brakes are not going to last as long. If you're on the interstate for long periods of time, they'll last longer simply because you're not having that brake pad rub against that brake rotor and start taking that material off as often. It's always best to use brake pads that are the exact specifications for your vehicle. And the best way to make sure that you do that is to use the factory brake pad. You're typically going to get your longest life. It's going to be the quietest. It won't be as noisy. The biggest reason being that it is made specifically for your car. Brake jobs can vary in how long it takes to do them, depending on if you're just replacing pads, if you're resurfacing rotors, if you have to replace rotors, the type of rotors that you're dealing with. Some rotors are actually pressed onto the hub. It can typically take anywhere from 45 minutes to up to 3 hours to do a full front and rear brake job. One thing to make sure of is refer to your owner's manual in reference to replacing brake fluid. Manufacturers have their own specific times and mileage for replacing brake fluid. Some require just simple replacement in the brake master cylinder reservoir. Others recommend a full brake fluid flush that gets all the old fluid out of the system and creates the fresh fluid. Now, the importance of that is brake fluid absorbs moisture. So if you have moisture in your brake fluid, it's going to start to rot your brake system from the inside out. So it's great to get in there and make sure that you have fresh fluid with no moisture in it. Like I said, just follow your manufacturer's specifications on when to do that. There's no real way to make the brakes last longer. It's simply how you drive. The one big tip that I can tell you about making brakes last longer is anticipate stops. The harder you are on the brake pad, the more it's going to wear. But the simple fact of the matter is, the more times you press that brake pedal, the quicker your brakes are going to start to wear. Brakes are the most important safety item on your vehicle. So always make sure that you keep your brakes maintained, make sure that your pads are thick enough, make sure that your rotors are in specs, and keep everybody safe, not just you on the road. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rocky from the Proctor Dealerships. Subscribe to our channel for more helpful car tip videos.